All right, folks. Welcome to Midweek Builds with me, Stephen, aka Stereo Studs. I'm gonna finish Ninjago City Gardens today. So just move these. I did a wee bit of a pick a brick shopping there. When I was down in Belfast at the weekend. We've got a couple of wee boxes of parts. They're kind of just sitting in the way. But yes, anyway, this is where we've got up to with our build. You can see the bulk of the sort of main build is finished. I'm actually just going to move, grab movies a little bit. Hey, Film Bricks. Hello, hello. How are you? It's the first time I've streamed on a weekday in ages. I've been so bad lately. Um, I'm moving these out of the way entirely because they're just going to end up getting knocked over or something. Um, yeah, just yeah, it's pretty awesome, isn't it? I really want to get finished. I've sort of collab build coming up now next weekend with another YouTuber, and I want to have this finished before I start into something else. It is pretty awesome. Right? So all we've got left to do now is just build this little section here, which is kind of little sort of temple gardens that goes onto the side of the main Ninjago City Gardens. So crack open the bag and I can start building. I don't think it will take terribly long. There's not a huge amount of building to it. It'll be the usual road to get the foundations down, then I back it'll be add the water, and then sort of build it out with whatever details are going to be in it. So let's carry on. If it, I don't know if you can hear it in the camera or not, but it's super windy here today, and it is blowing quite a bit. So it's very windy in the background. Apologies if that's coming through. It shouldn't be. I'm sort of in a room that's kind of away from the wind that's hitting the front of the house. But if you can't hear sort of any windy noises, then that's what it is. So yeah, just gonna get this particular build finished today, and that's the goal anyway. Shouldn't like I said, it shouldn't take too long. There's only a few bags left. Um, it's just a small section of the build, and I don't think there's a huge amount of sort of detail in it. I think there's just a little bit of landscaping, a little bit of water, and then there's like a little sort of temple or something that gets built up onto it as well. So shouldn't take us too long to get through it. So for the time being, it's just chucking in a whole load of dates here and some wedge tiles. So this is kind of setting down the sort of the depth for the water. So we've got the different colors in here that represent different depths. And whenever the translucent tiles go to the top of it, so Lego Master Yanai is just here to like say what's up and maybe say, well, I appreciate the likes and what's up to you, man, and please stay. I don't know how terribly exciting it is, but it's a pretty cool build. And we're so nearly finished. But I do appreciate you dropping by and saying hello and the like. It's cool, man. Jade Dexter 6078 is asking what we're building. So this is Ninjago City Gardens, 71741. So we're just finishing it off. There's a little section on a 32 by 16 base plate that goes on to the edge of the build. It's kind of like a little temple section. So we're just finishing that off here now. It's not a terribly big section of the build, so hopefully it won't take us too long to get through it. I just really want to get it finished at this point. Hope to sort of pick up something a little bit more Christmassy for my next build. So I don't like to start building something when I'm working on another set. I like to I like to sort of get one finished, and then I move on to the next. So that's kind of where I'm at here with this. It looks pretty good so far. It is an awesome set. It is very, very cool. Don't think it's quite as good as Ninjago. I think the original Ninjago City for me is still sort of top dollar of all these sets. Um, but this is right up there. There's a lot of detail in it. Once I'm finished, I'll maybe sort of give it a wee bit more of an overview and a close up, just show a bit more of the detail that's kind of built into the actual set itself, because it is fantastic. And there's granted it's all in a 32 by 32 base plate, but kind of quite a bit of verticality there, and a lot of detail kind of goes into each of the little layers. So these are all essentially little sort of individual huts or rooms or stalls or whatever they are, all with their own little stories. So it's quite cool to sort of see all that's going on in there. Breakable World says hello, everybody. Hey, Breakable World, how are you? Hope you're keeping well. Right, where am I with this? Okay. What else are we building at the minute then, folks? Any sort of fun builds going on? I feel like I've been building this for an absolute lifetime. Yeah, it's pretty spectacular, isn't it? Very, very cool set. I've actually just picked up Black Dog's asking why aren't I using glue, because I if I use glue, then when I throw it in the ground, it won't smash. And also because um, it's a modular build, and it's kind of designed to be sort of moved around and whatnot. So it kind of defeat the purpose of locking it all down. Yeah, I don't actually intend to drop it and smash it. I know someone did throw me all these promises if I did a live of me dropping it, but I've put too much time and effort into building it. I don't particularly want to drop it and smash it, and it's a pretty hefty build with a lot going on, so I'd much rather not. Um, Black Dog, is that Lego that you're displaying, or what do you? I do get gluing it, but it's not for me. I suppose I have an awful lot of Lego and a limited amount of space, so at some point I might want to dismantle this, box it away, and consider building it at some point in the future. I don't know. So I kind of have that mindset with sort of most of what I build, really as a just in case. It is a real moot point though. I know a lot of people are super against it. I suppose it takes away a lot of the sort of flexibility of Lego, the ability to build and unbuild and rebuild and all of that. So um yes, Yanni, hang by, wait until the end. See how they build. You never know, they might sort of get lively and fun in the comment section and be worth hanging about for. But yeah, no, it's not glue and Lego's not something that I'm generally a fan of. But I do appreciate if you're building it as a one-off and have zero intention of doing anything with it other than perhaps displaying it, then I suppose it provides a bit of a safety net if you glue it all up and just sort of have it neatly on display, especially if you've got kids or animals around who could potentially bump into it and knock it over or something. I don't know. I don't know. Playing devil's advocate here. And at the end of the day, it's still their own, isn't it? As for me, well, that's fair. That's very fair. Um, I am a wee bit particular about mine. Also, I I have two children, and I don't generally let them do much or play much with any of my Lego, but have still draw the line at glue. But no, I sort of have intention of having like a section of my layout anyway, whether it's sort of joined in with everything else or separate, a little Ninjago area. Where I'm going to combine all of these sort of larger Ninjago sets and kind of maybe build it out and theme it out a wee bit, do something a bit more fun with it. So I have obviously Ninjago City Guards, which I'm building at the minute. You can't really see it. Let me see if I can. Oh, there's a wee piece going out wall here. See if I can just flip this camera around here and wrong way. You have a wee look on top. Yeah, so you can see right up the top there we have Ninjago City Docks. So obviously that's one of the earlier Ninjago City sets. And then I do also have the sort of Ninjago City set itself. But I don't have it sort of handy, so I can't actually show you yet. And then I've just picked up in the recent insider sale, I picked up Ninjago City. Oh, not workshops. The one prior to that, I forget what it's called now. The one with the little cable car that runs up. So I got that as well. So I do have quite a few of these Ninjago City sets in, which I intend to combine together then into something a bit more interesting. So, yeah, you could be right. They've withstood the test of time so far. That's not permanent storage either. A lot of the sets that you see in there, particularly the modulars, I do intend to remove. I am sort of building a big layout in my garage, and they will all sort of eventually move their way up into the layout. And then I don't know if I'll use these display shelves or not. I've just noticed that the table's wobbling and my camera is sitting on my table, so apologies for the wobble. Try and press everything down very gently, but it's quite hard. So yes, a lot of those sets will eventually kind of move away from that unit there, and yes, will factor their way into my layout. I'm sort of still waiting for tables, or tabletops rather. So I haven't actually been able to sort of really get building or doing anything with my layout as of yet. But I've got some really good plans, and I've sort of all drawn out in Excel. So sort of looking forward to picking that up and moving that along at some point in the future. Anyway. Breakable World, are you building any sets at the minute, or you pick up anything on Insider Weekend, or anything interesting going on, Lego wise? So we're nearly finished this bag. Don't suspect it's going to take us too long to finish this all off. There's a lot of plate work here at the minute. And it's a lot of smaller plates, a lot of one bags and things like that. So it is taking a wee bit longer than I would have expected. But okay. I must add, I'm not really a huge Ninjago fan, so I don't know a lot about Ninjago. I don't buy these sets because they're Ninjago, just buy them because they're pretty awesome. So I'm always sort of ripe for education on anything Ninjago. I did have a guy in a previous stream that was giving me a nice run through, a bit of an insight into what's going on. But if any Ninjago fans watching, then Be free to educate me. Okay, just a few little pieces left here then. So we're basically just finishing off the entire foundation. It's basically, as with most of these Ninjago sets, the foundation layer sort of consists largely of plates because there's quite a bit of water, and then sort of just building up the areas that will have sort of structure. So obviously we've got, forgot to put some pieces in. Obviously we've got this little area in the middle which is going to have some sort of a little structure on it, and then all around here, sort of the areas where the sort of dark and the green tile is going to be predominantly water. Alrighty, so that's the end of bag 23. So we move on to bag 24 now. Oh, which there two, but there's not a lot in these. It's as you can see, it's predominantly 2x1 light trans blue tiles, which is obviously for the water. And then we have a little bag of just sort of smaller plates and stuff. There'll be a little bit of the detailing, so I'll get these opened up here. And start popping the water and all in it. So amazing the difference these wee tiles make, on top of the stuff that we just put in there from the plates. It makes all the difference. Really sort of lifts it. And then, like I said, you've got the different coloured plates underneath the tiles, which give the sort of very sort of impression of depth. So the black kind of representing deeper water, and the green then representing slightly shallower. And again, we've got a couple of different sort of color depths when it comes to the green. So again, representing different depths of water. So I'll just carry on working my way through all of these. Just a few fiddly little these little green flower pieces in quite challenging areas, and quite hard to get them in sometimes. What I really ought to do once I finish this is fetch the other two Ninjago sets, the two larger ones that I've built. In markets, Ninjago City Markets, that's the one that I picked up on Insider Weekend. So I really should pick the other two that I've built. Maybe get Ninjago City Markets built as well. And I do have another wee Ninjago set, or a couple actually. I have one which is like a little police tuk-tuk, I guess from the Ninjago movie. And then I've got like the shrine one, a dragon shrine. Yeah, so I should really pick these up and build them, and sort of combine them all together. And obviously it's taken me quite a while to actually get working on my layout up in my garage, or my Lego room. I call it my garage, but it's my Lego room. So it would actually be quite nice to get started on something, and theoretically I could move quite quickly on a little Ninjago City area, because I've got a lot of big sets already built. So the and it's going to be predominantly based on these larger sets. Um, and then I'll just like maybe personalize it a wee bit as well. On bricks, I really like how they built these upwards. I know I think that's one of my favorite things about them, because some Lego sets at the minute have substantial footprints, um, which can make them a little bit difficult to display sometimes. You know, because there's a lot of Lego and very little space, you know, to sort of display it all and sell it all. So with these, like you said, they kind of build upwards, so you're getting so much detail and so much interest in that 32 by 32 base plate form. You know, here you might have like, I suppose theoretically this could very easily just take this whole layer off here, pop it down here, and you've got two 32 by 32 base plates, but that's a lot more space then, isn't it? So they're you know really good as kind of space saving, or well, not space saving, but they make more sort of efficient use of space, I suppose. Just need to pay attention here because there's a funny little pattern going on here with this water. Just want to make sure they put it all in correctly. What I really like as well is they use a lot of these here little wedge plates in underneath. So you have the two of them together, which makes obviously a 3 by 3 area. But it just means that you've got a little section sort of underneath the tiles then that is smooth and doesn't have studs, and it just again creates a little sort of kind of just difference in appearance, and a little bit of just mixes things up a little bit, I suppose. I'm actually struggling to sort of keep track of exactly how these tiles are meant to go in here. So I think that goes there. That goes there. Oh, 100%. It's kind of it's kind of good inspiration as well, I suppose, isn't it, for like a different way to go about maybe building your city. Like I have quite a big space to work with, so I'm working the entire circumference of my garage. And I have a lot of sort of square footage to play in. Um, but I suppose you could argue that if it's all going to be sort of based on one level, I don't at this point intend to have any elevated sections. I don't know if it'll remain that way or not. I might change it just to better utilize space. Time will tell, I suppose, on that one. But you know, these definitely sort of give you sort of good ideas and inspiration on how to maybe sort of adjust the layout of your city or your whatever, you know, to be more vertical rather than sort of along the surface of a table. And see, then yeah, you'll get a whole lot more in, and arguably you can just squeeze in so much more detail as well because you can get super creative. I personally want to have quite a railway focus layout, um and that is going to take up sort of a big chunk of my table space. So I suppose theoretically, in order to sort of combat just how much space that's going to take up, I could potentially look at raising some of my layout above the railway so the railway runs underneath. You know, so you can have the trains kind of running around the layout in the room, but also freeing up space to facilitate sort of additional buildings and stuff like that. But I don't really know if I want to do that because I kind of want to tell stories using the trains as well. I want like a sort of a proper active and sort of working railway layout, and I think just sticking it in underneath a table just kind of hides it, and then it kind of loses a bit of its impact. But I don't know. I don't know. I do watch a lot of other YouTubers and sort of pay very close attention to their layouts, and I suppose there's absolutely scope maybe in a section of it to have a tunnel or something. But again, that's down the line a little bit, so I'll kind of cross that bridge whenever I come to it. Okay, so it's starting to take a bit of shape here. With just again, just still working our way around the water section. A little bit of rock work in there as well, some very small, just using these little 2x1 plates with a little wedge on the end, and then some little T-slopes as well, just to add a bit of interest, and supposed to break up the big chunk of water. And then there are some little bits of greenery sort of thrown in throughout as well. And again, I suppose just for the benefit of breaking things up. Need to work out a way to stabilize this table. I don't really understand why it's rocking. I don't know if it's because it's one of the sit stand tables. I have it up quite high because I do prefer to build standing. And I don't know if it's because of the height, if it maybe just doesn't have enough, enough stability. Because the actual legs for the table sit kind of almost in the sort of back third of it, so it's a little bit front heavy. I don't know if that's just creating a wee bit of a wobble. Alternatively, what I can probably just do is take my camera off the table, and then that alleviates that problem as well. But still, still trying to find a setup that works. I have, like I say, this is a new table. I've done it there on my own. Yeah, this is a new table that I've added quite recently. It's much nicer to build at. I don't, I'm not sure this will be my sort of final building room. I'm still waiting to. I don't have good internet access in my garage because it's a detached garage. It's separate from the house. And when we were building the house, I completely overlooked running physical cables from the house to the garage for the benefit of carrying the internet. And I don't particularly want to run them through the air, so I don't really know the best way to get a decent internet connection up there, which kind of renders it redundant for building. But then maybe it's nice to keep this kind of building separate from, because obviously that will be my Lego room. It will be my layout. It will be pretty much 100% layout. So maybe it's nice to sort of separate the two things as well. Right, okay, so we're very nearly finished. They sort of, I suppose you call it the second section of this. So almost got all the plate work done. Just a wee bit of rock work to do in this little corner here. And then just a little bit more plate work, and then we'll be moving on to adding in whatever structures there are in this little section. So I think we're just going to be finishing off all of the plate work now, or tile work rather. going to put, there's just a few places that have to go in various areas. I'm just trying to pinpoint exactly where they go. And then that just makes it a bit easier to line up the tiles themselves whenever we're putting them in. Put this up over here. It's just getting a little bit fiddly here. There's a lot of sort of little corners now. These little flower pieces are quite difficult to get in on occasions. I think that goes there, I know. Okay. Yeah, it's basically framed by tiles running in this direction. We're nearly done. It's always nice when you finish kind of the tile work on these sets because there is a lot of it, but they really do lay the kind of foundations for the set, and it lifts the set so much whenever these are all in place. And just these last three to go in now. Alrighty. And then the only thing we have left then is we've got these little two sort of toadstooly set of things, which are made with just some of the little upside down, I call them trash can, or I don't call them trash can because they don't say trash, bin lids, I suppose. So it's little lily pads made with bin lids. I'll show you them being made. So we've got the little bin lids here. They're just kind of flipped upside down, and this little 3-leaf with stem piece goes in, and then a little pink flower into there. And there you can see, if I can hold that, that's what we kind of end up with. And there's just a few wee studs with holes that were left open to pop these into. Again, that just adds another wee extra dimension to the set and a wee bit of colour as well now as well. There's one more of those to pop in. And a few wee spare pieces left over. There we have it. So I know it still doesn't look like a huge amount, but that's kind of all the water done now. Oh, 1 second, someone at the door. All right, apologies. Okay, yeah, so as I was saying, that kind of finishes off that little section then. We've got all the water and plate work done, got all the foundations down, got the little Technic pins in that allow you to join this onto the section, or different sections of different sets depending on how you want to set it up. We now move on to bag 25, and let's have a look at that. Right, so this is just building up a little bit more of the kind of sort of structures. There's a couple of little bridges that go in, and it sort of just builds up the terrain on which the little temple's going to go. So I'll put a couple of bigger pieces in, turn this around so it's angled the right way. Goes in there. Goes in there. Right. 22 bags left to do. So yeah, we're just building up like a little section here. I don't know what goes on this, but I suppose it just lifts the the sort of foundations up out of the water a little bit. Um, it'll probably become a bit more sort of evident what it represents once it builds up a little bit more. Um, Actually, it's quite interesting. There's some kind of pillars or columns or something going in here. So presumably this represents something. Again, my sort of ignorance when it comes to Ninjago kind of comes into place here because I don't really have much understanding for what any of these things may or may not represent. We've just got these wee sort of pillars that are going up down the end here. There's 4 of them in total, just sort of they round off nicely. Around the second, I just can't find the tiles that go on top of them. You know what? I'll just put them on whenever I find them. Those there and there. All right, now with some more big plate work going on, so you can just building this up a little bit more. It's quite nice. It's built with a lot of the curved plates, so it kind of maintains a nice sort of natural kind of appearance. Kind of looks like a little sort of hill or mound that's kind of growing up. It's almost like almost sort of stepped as well, which is nice. There's one. And then just using jumper plates as well, just to offset sort of the bills a little bit so that they're not all sort of perfectly on grid, which again is nice. It just gives it a little bit more of a sort of feel of natural about it. And then we're just going to pop in a wee bit of, got some rounded plates here, and these are all this here kind of representing stone and things like that. Again, just texture. It's a bit more natural and authentic looking as well. Pop in all the wee ones first, and then I can use them as kind of guides for the larger ones. 3 and 4. Yeah, just sort of a similar approach over the other side here. So again, it's just a little bit more sort of adding in these rounded plates and the wedge plates just to build up. Nice. Right. So there you can see just that little section that we've built there. And I'm still missing. Oh, there it is. Pop this on now. So you can see it's almost like a little, I don't know, like a little sort of shriny style thing here or something. We've got like a little pedestal here, and then these little pillars that are surrounding it. I do notice that there is a sort of grey monotone blank minifigure here, so that very well might sort of feature. Okay, we're just gonna continue building up around here. Yeah, it's just kind of layering this sort of grass area up. It doesn't feel right, but I think it is. Still quite a bit of green plate here, so I think it is going to be a case of just sort of adding, sort of them in sections as we go up the build, just lifting this structure up out of the water, but also sort of retaining that sort of natural appearance. Okay, so that overlaps that. I did miss something, huh? No, maybe not. Just a funny wee build here because there's lots of little sections sort of in underneath that are left sort of hollow or empty. Just doesn't always, you sort of question sometimes, have I have I missed a step and forgot to put something in, but I don't think that's the case. Just maybe it's just sort of saving bricks as well. We are just slowly kind of building it up. A 3 by here, and quite a few different directions. Okay, and then another sort of wee bit of structure on this side. So again, I don't know what these represent, but just sort of some alternating patterns going on here. And that just covers up the last of the kind of grey plate that was showing there as well. So again, just as a way of updating, you can see we've just been slowly building up the green plate here in a reasonably natural looking fashion. That's just lifted this whole structure just up out of the water. And then, obviously the temple's going to sit on top of this. Just a wee bit of greenery and plant life to go in. It's just 6 little flowers that could kind of dotted around the edge. And again, this just sort of breaks up all of the plate and stud. Okay, now the larch is going in. Which is awesome. Yes, on the base just to finish. Also, I don't know what these little structures at the side represent, but it almost looks like little water inlets of some sort. Maybe it's just to kind of transition this little sort of garden from whatever section of the sort of larger set that it would be set up against. And then just these little bridges. Right there.
Are you finished?
Still got a bag to go.
Huh?
Still got a bag to go. I'm with you, sorry. now I've just got this strap shoe like thing going on here. Lovely shiny hair. And I've clearly missed quite a few of these little pieces out. Where are they on it again? Right, I'm going to guess that there's one here. One here. Is it? Put it in the wrong place. There. Well, it's going to be a really hard one to get in, but I'll try. In there. I think that's it. They all look like I'm maybe still missing one. I've figure I've got one too many of these sitting around. Do we see one anywhere that I definitely haven't got in? Let's go back a couple of steps and just be 100% clear. That one's definitely there. And here we have one over here beside a little flower that is there. Here we have this one here, which I do then. There's 3 of them here, so 1, 2, and no, I'm not sure. No, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a small and inconsequential piece, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. So that's the end of that bag. So all we've left to do now is the temple. So I'm just going to let you have a wee look at where we're up to. So you can see here we've kind of built this up nicely now. We've got these little bridges that presumably lead across. This obviously connects up to a section of Ninjago City Gardens. And these little bridges then bring you across onto the temple. So we'll throw this back in now. And we'll get the temple built. We have one last minifigure here as well. I'll build up and let you have a look at it now in a second. Okay, so my final figure is Young Lloyd. So not a huge amount going on. There's very little printing. So there you can see. Got a wee bit of printing on the front of the torso there. He's got one sort of anguished looking face and then one very sort of wry, cheeky looking face. Bit of printing again on the rear. And then he has this kind of bowl style cut. We'll set him aside and then we'll start building. I might actually have to cut the stream off a bit early here because unfortunately I have something I need to do and time is against me, so we're almost finished. I would love to have had the time to sort of A, finish it and then B, do sort of a nice overview of the entire set, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. Again, we're just putting down a wee bit of sort of cobbled stonework here, just using 2x2 circular tiles and some of the little like greyish blue studs as well then. Now we just need to build up the 4 sides of this little temple then, so it's all fairly straightforward. It's just a lot of small pieces really, and then it's just we've got kind of 1 by 1 plate from varying sections, and it's just trying to keep them all sort of aligned. sort of struggle to keep them aligned whenever they're so far apart like that. What I might actually do is build them this way instead. And then building them top down, you sort of have slightly better visibility of how they're sitting, sort of compared to one another. I can spend a bit of time off camera if need be, just straightening them all out. Okay, I'll just do a little bit more here and then I'll wrap it up. I'll try and get back at another point and finish it off. I'll wear these wee arch pieces in that just create these nice little sort of curved sides to the temple, if I could get them all. There we go. Two more on your side. And just some, excuse me, 2x1 red plate just to hold it all in place. No, I might actually get this finished now because there's not a huge amount left to do. That's as long as I can find the pieces I'm looking for. I'm still going to find one of the. No, there it is, sitting sideways. That goes through there. Okay, and then we're using these sort of gramophone pieces then to make some rather interesting design. Oh, we're not actually, apology one. It's actually just the studs with holes in them. And the little red cones then inverted. But because I've loaded gramophones here and I thought that's what they were being used for, but they're obviously going to feature elsewhere. It's funny when you're building these up at this stage, they kind of look like nothing. So when sort of when the whole structure comes together, that you see sort of the full piece, and like, oh, it looks really cool. That really worked. Because it just sometimes feels like a load of random pieces just kind of being shoehorned in. Okay. We're just sort of working our way up toward the roof section now then. We're very nearly finished. Get these wee pieces, I can never get them all off tables unless they're upside down. So they just go the whole way around. Two more. It's just the wee the sort of ingot pieces. I always find it so hard to lift. And one of them is remaining anonymous here. There it is. And now you're starting to see the roof sections all sort of start to come together. Like I said, they kind of look sort of very random for a long time, just like a lot of random parts. But just slowly but surely, as you start to piece it all together and clip the brace bits in, they all just fall so nicely into place. And then you start to get this really elegant, interesting sort of shape and design. I'll put that on the right way though. So we're nearly finished. Just a couple of bits to do in this roof section, and then we'll be all done. There's where we're up to now. You can see it's starting to look a bit more complete and cohesive. A few more wee clip pieces to go then. I guess it's just for the corner sections then. With up close, it doesn't look quite so neat and tidy, but when you sort of step back a little bit, it does look tidy. It looks well. Okay. And then again, just using jumpers just to kind of tweak the sort of offset a little bit. It brings you in half a stud then. And there we're using our gramophones. Just a whole load more of layering up studs and 1x1 plates here. I suppose it's creating the height of a brick, but it's a lot more interesting looking, isn't it? I'm really struggling. I will struggle with the round plates to get them together for some reason. Okay, and just a few last little pieces to go on then. So where do these go? Just the last few details go on here just to complete this little roof section at the top then. And then these go in here. These kind of clipped bladed pieces. And then we have just some sort of like an antenna style thing that goes on top then. I think that just runs the whole way down and sort of lids the roof and just completes it right off. Pop that in like so. And there we have it. And then that clips onto there, which then in turn clips into here. And there you have it. That is the end of Ninjago City Gardens. So I'm just going to pop this little minifigure here for now. Let me just turn this around then. Let's see that. This then can clip onto the side here, and that just extends that little section of the build out. And that in turn completes the entire build. So there you go. That's how it looks in with all these extra sections together. I'll just pop the camera off here for 1 wee second, give you a wee bit of a close up, and then we'll wrap things up. So there we have it then. So this is a little section then that we built today. You can just see how this just joins on so cohesively to the side of the build. We've got this little walkway then that brings you across. This will then attach on another side here. And you'll have another wee walkway here. So you have these little sort of bridge access into the temple, and then they join up on either side. And that, my friends, is Ninjago City Gardens. It's quite a lump of a thing. It's kind of hard for me to get it all into one frame, actually. But if I flip it all around, you'll get a good idea of what we're working with. And there it is in from that angle as well. So I'm going to wrap up the stream right here, right now. I'm just happy to get that finished. Thank you again, guys, for tuning in. And if you give us a wee thumbs up, I'd be very grateful. And also feel free to sub.